Hi everyone, so I had quite a few requests on how I did my Bowsette turtle shell that I have right here. I think it turned out pretty good. I did miss a couple of steps obviously on it, but in this video that we're going to do a step-by-step on how you should do it properly instead of how I messed up on a couple things. Like I completely missed the sanding step, which you should never forget. But anyways, that's okay. But we're going to start with the first step, which is creating your template right over here.
Okay, so to get started, I have these two different pre-cut styrofoam balls that I bought at my craft store, and on the smaller one, I had cut it and taped it to each side of the bigger one to help give me my turtle shape more that I need. And then next what we're going to do is we're going to start wrapping this up in saran wrap. Now you're going to wrap this up about a couple of times, and then you're going to start taping, which I use some masking tape to it just to help draw out our pattern. Then once you start drawing out your pattern with some Sharpie or however you do it, I apologize for this little bit right here. I thought I had this in the shot, but you want to make sure you also get your accent marks going on here too. You want to make sure that all your pattern lines up correctly, and you only want to do the one half of it so it will mirror the other half when you duplicate it. And now I'm going to start cutting this out with my X-Acto knife right here. And again, be very careful. You want to make sure you have your accent marks where they will be visible for you to see when you trace it onto your pattern, which I'm going to start cutting out right about here or so. Yep, there it is. Okay, now I start cutting out my pattern, and I'm going to also cut out little indents for where my accent marks are going to be, so that way I can just line it up all correctly. And then I'm going to start tracing it on with some silver Sharpie onto some 6mm EVA foam, which I bought on Amazon for about 40 bucks or so for a giant roll. It helps me out a whole lot. Now, after I doubled my pattern already, because you're going to need the other half as well, you're going to start cutting this out with your X-Acto knife. And once everything is already cut out, now you're going to start gluing and lining up your patterns correctly. Now take your time with this. You don't have to necessarily rush, but just you want to make sure you get all your seams lined up correctly. And I kind of messed up a little bit right here. You see me go back over and I make sure all my seams are correct. I'll push them in, like pinching them in or reversing your pattern inside out just a little bit helps make sure those seams stay together. Now, once I had done my two halves of the shell, I'm going to start gluing them together. I like to use a flat surface for this part right here. Just helps it out to make sure my seams line up just that bit more. And just take it slowly. And my whole shell is glued right now, so it makes it a little bit difficult, but just work it little by little and you'll get there. As you can see, as you just slowly pinch your seams together, you're going to have your turtle shell, which will come out right about here. Look at that. Next is what you're going to do is you're going to start drawing your pattern out onto your shell. Now you can use any pattern you want, but I kind of went with the simple pattern here because that's what Bowser has, and it just makes it a lot easier for me to do. Now once I have everything drawn out, what I'm going to start doing right here is I'm going to start scoring and indenting my pattern with a wood burner tool that I have here. And I'm using a flat tip burner, and this just really helps give it just that little bit more of a detail, which I quite personally love to do. Now also when using a wood burner, make sure you're very careful with this because this can be very dangerous and also can be very hot, obviously, as you can tell. But also take your time with this, and also you want to be in a well-ventilated area, so because these fumes can be pretty toxic to breathe in. Now, once you have everything scored and burned out for your pattern, I am going to start using my Plasti Dip. I like to use gloves for this, but I completely forgot during this little part right here. And just hold it about 10 inches apart from your shell or whatever it is you're doing, and just spray it back and forth nice and easy. You don't want to spray it all in one area so it doesn't just build up and give it a nice big huge gloop which looks ugly. But just using this in layers and in coats, it will turn out nice and easy. I used about 4 different layers for my Plasti Dip, and it turned out pretty nice. Next is what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start getting on my spikes that I have for the turtle shell, or for Bowser shell. Sorry about that. And I used I already had pre-cut my template out, and I traced it onto some craft foam, and I glued each seam with some with a Q-tip, which made it a lot easier. Then I'm going to start pinching each side together just to get them a nice spike shape. Next is what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the ring or bevel that goes around it. And I heat up the pre-cut craft and I just rolled it together. So it just makes it just that little nice ring. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the inside and the outside of the bottom spike, and I'm also going to glue on the inside of my roll that I just made. And then you're going to glue it. You're going to do little by little, and you're going to glue it on. You're going to glue on the lip with on the inside of the spike, so that way the ring just stays on the outside. And then you'll have it turning out looking like this. Next is what I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting, and I only just did a few shots of this because you can paint on however it is you like to do it. I like to start out by pre-painting my spikes with some white spray paint just to help give it just a little bit nice easier, but I go over with some different type of paint later on. But then also now I also have already pre-painted my turtle shell with some green paint, and then I'm going to go over the inside with some black paint as well. Now after everything is already painted, I am going to attach this industrial foam pipe. Now this I got at my local hardware store. It's really nice, and it already comes pre-glued. And this is after I already painted it with some pearl white paint, and it already also comes, like I said, pre-glued. So I just peel off the tape, and the adhesive works really well on this, in my opinion. It works better than the contact cement glue. It holds it really well. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start attaching each spike individually with some hot glue, which made it just a lot easier for me to work with. You can use contact cement glue. Next is what I'm going to do is I'm going to start attaching my straps with some straps that I bought already at Walmart, and then also with two different buckles, just so I can make it adjustable and easier to wear. After just gluing each strap and attaching each buckle to the end of each strap, you will have your turtle shell nice and completed. And just take your time with this. Make sure you have everything pre-marked, and it'll be nice and easy for you. And now we're done. And I'm sorry for this little bit. I thought we had the microphone on, but obviously we did not. I apologize for that. But the turtle shell came out a lot nicer than my previous one. I liked it a whole lot, and I hope this video helps out a whole lot with y'all too. If you guys would like to see more of this, please like and subscribe, and drop a comment down below of what you would like to see next, or what videos you would like to see me doing. Thank you so much for this. I hope this really helps out, and I hope to see y'all again next time.